This incident occurred in March 2000, and since I have been seeing an increase in questions about Datura, I am sharing what was a bizarre and amazing experience. It's a pretty long post, bear with me. I am just putting in what I experienced. Most of this text has been recreated with inputs from people I interacted with over the period of 3 days and tape recordings that were made periodically by the sitter during these 3 days. Please bear in mind that there are some gaps here that I would love to fill, but can't, and don't think ever will. I would highly recommend a sitter to someone attempting it. I always had someone or the other in my house, though never interacting with me unless I initiated this interaction. This experiment was with what is identified here as Datura Inoxia, a common plant where I stay. It grows in profusion on every piece of wasteland around. I had eaten 2 Datura leaves and half a seed pod. The leaves were mature about 5 inches in length and almost 3 inches in width. They were a deep waxy green. The seed pod was small, about 2.5 inches in diameter. Very bitter taste and compounded by a metallic taste that lasted through the early part of the trip. What follows is one of the most bizarre trips that I have ever experienced, not something I would recommend unless you like playing at the edge of functional reality. It lasted almost 60 hours. March 17, 2000. It was around 5:0 hours, in the evening when I decided to collect a fresh specimen of plant material to begin with. Just went out of my house to the nearest playground, which is 3 minutes away. And just as I turned the corner I saw 3 fine specimens of Datura Inoxia. The plants were a deep green, growing to about 3 feet in height. There were numerous flowers and seed pods. Invoking a silent prayer, I cut off 2 leaves and what seemed to me to be a tender seed pod, not completely matured. I took these home. I skinned the seed pod using a peeler. I cut this peeled Datura pod into half. Half went into the compost pit and the other half into my stomach with the 2 leaves. Ingestion was a grueling process and I almost threw up twice before I could get the plant material down my throat. I used some water to get it down. The taste was extremely bitter. I retired into my room and played some music, John McLaughlin with Shakti, I think. The first effects of the trip were obvious within approximately 20 minutes. I felt a dull throbbing pain in my stomach, not surprising considering that I had fasted for 12 hours prior to ingestion. And felt like I had a rise in body temperature. The feeling rapidly changed into a flu-like feeling. This was getting me worried, and I was only 1 hour into the trip. I thought a change of scenery would be ideal, so a friend of mine, who was sitting me, said we would go for a ride. I wasn't too sure of my physical coordination because I was feeling pretty nauseous. But my sitter assured me that there was no obvious physical response. He didn't seem to find me off balance at all. The elevator was really something, and I felt my stomach move into my throat. I would have thrown up had it not been that we reached the ground floor. As I sat on my bike I noticed a distinct change in my mood. A change that I just cannot describe in words. D+2 hours. It was like an upliftment of my physical body, a lightness. The entire environment was beginning to get a little dreamy edge to it. I said to sitter, "Is this beginning of the trip?" "Has to be," and he looked back at me and smiled. I felt compelled from deep inside to laugh. But my lips, they refused to move. For an instant a wave of nausea racked my insides. And then it subsided again. It did not affect me during the next 3 days at all. Things were definitely starting to get weird now. There was a distinct change in my visual field, a blurring of things. It was like the whole environment around me was smeared as soon as I attempted to change my field of view. Gradually all inputs from the peripheral vision area were gone. It was like looking at a painting. Move my head, and smear, then painting again. So on. This went on for quite a long period of time. During which my sitter also said that I was continuously talking to myself. The sitter mentions that I distinctly talked about time, and that there was no such thing as time. It seems I was way off from my usual rants. He said I was looking into space and blabbering about how time is always warped, and that there is no such thing as time. This went on till almost D+10 hours, 1 in the morning, when the sitter reports that I started to get agitated about something. The sitter thought it prudent for me to have a shower. I have no memory of the shower, though I have distinct memories of what followed. It almost felt like my body was coming back together. This was just as I was getting out of the bathroom. I felt cold and weary. My sitter reports that my pupils are completely dilated and there is some amount of redness in the eyes. All lights around look really bright, so I put on a night lamp, lie down and decide to read. The book makes absolutely no sense. The text looks like barcode, or the UPC. When asked what book I am reading, I have no clue. I have absolutely no idea what book I am holding. I have no visual focus. At this point I tell the sitter that I am not feeling well and that I should see a doctor. My sitter reminds me that I have ingested some Datura. Don't seem to have a memory of that. I spend half an hour trying to convince my sitter that I haven't had any Datura, and that he must be crazy, saying I would never do Datura man. I think shrooms are the best. Writing this down, I can imagine what other people who have tripped on Datura go through. There doesn't seem to be a distinct difference in tripping and not tripping. You feel completely normal, yet you are in serious delirium and blabbering about all sorts of things. All of a sudden I feel the need to lie down, and I lay down. Sitter turns of the light. I begin to fly. Well, I had this feeling of enormous speed, like when you are skydiving or bungee jumping. It felt like my heart was going to thump out of my ribcage. My skin was all crackling with electricity. And then I saw my mother. At that moment the feeling stopped. And I asked my mom what she was doing here in the morning. She should teaching. The spring term is about to begin. She just laughed at me and asked what I wanted, and why I had come. At that point I got really confused. I told her she was the one who had come to me. I thought she wanted to meet me. She said to me, "No, I don't want to meet you." And then I get the feeling again. I feel really sweaty and damp. It's like the air all around me has become really humid. I feel someone's hand on my shoulder. I look up, a blurry outline of my sitter. D+18 hours, he said that for the past 3 hours I have been curled up in a fetal position on my bed, just shivering with cold. He felt a distinct rise in my body temperature, and decided it was time for a shower. When on Datura, showers bring a distinct back to normal feel. Regardless of the fact that you are in extreme delirium, this can make you do really stupid things. March 18, 2000. My sitter is prompting to eat something. He said it's been like almost 20 hours since I have been tripping. I tell him I am not feeling hungry. If he feels like that he can eat something. I say why is light so bright, and he says it's daytime, the sun is out. I ask him when I rose, and when I will set. The light hurts my eyes. I complain continuously, almost whining. He gets me some bread and milk. Suddenly I say I am hungry and wolf down 4 slices of bread and swallow the milk. Strange, normally I hate milk. I have puked all over the table and have shit in my pants. My sitter has changed, and I have no clue where I am and who I am. There is darkness everywhere I look. There was no nausea and I puked everything out, and my rectum has voided. D+31 hours. No nausea, just a puke, and all shit out, almost like a purge. At this point I say out loud, "Are you think I'm dead? Cause I think so, and I am not feeling so great, can we call a doctor?" Again my sitter from now reminds me that I am tripping on Datura. I say, "So what if I'm tripping on it? I think I am dead anyway." R laughs a bit, and says it's been 34 hours since you ate it, and you are still very delirious. I seem to find it funny and laugh too. When he gives me a hand mirror I can't see a thing. And say it isn't a mirror, just a dumb piece of plastic. He says it's my girlfriend's compact, she had left it behind. I say I don't have a girlfriend. If you ever read this, I love you. I don't remember any of what follows, so it's a rough reconstruction. March 19, 2000. I curled up in my bed, was talking to myself for hours together, urinated in bed 2 times. Lacked any sense of place and time. And R reports that my body had become flushed, where the skin get all red, like when you blush. Seems towards the end of day 2, I was no longer agitated. I wanted to read a book, but still couldn't. I keep complaining about my inability to read. R says he will put on some music. Plays something on the CD player. D+40 hours, I can't hear a thing. He says it's the doors, and I say it sounds like he is playing back some kind of sound frequency. I talk animatedly about how I can fly when I close my eyes. R says, "Why don't you relax and try to fly?" It seems after this I lay on my bed for almost 10 hours. D+50 hours, it seems I was blabbering in the beginning, but gradually I stopped, and then at some point during the day I fell asleep. March 20, 2000. I wake up at around 6 a.m., D+61 hours, I feel cleansed, I can read and write, listen to music. I feel like I have that heavy-headedness you get when you smoke through the night, and sleep very little. R says he has never seen someone trip on Datura like that, and that he would never like to try it. He says I have been completely mad for the past 2.5 days. I don't agree with him, but keep my mouth shut. My head hurts, I am taking a paracetamol and going to bed. March 21, 2000. I have slept almost 20 hours, had very vivid dreams, woke up thrice to drink water. I feel like I have been reborn. I feel perfectly normal. Datura has to be without doubt the weirdest deliriant there is. It had me completely deluded about what I saw, what I heard, what I ate, what I felt. It is a complete acting drug, one that should be used only if you are ready to walk the fine line. Datura is really taking it close to the edge. Never have I felt elation, depression, anger, hate, love and insanity all in one trip. Never have I felt such emotive physical fear and sadness, and I didn't know I could fly. Additionally, most people think I have been closer to death than I could have imagined. Though I still don't know if the amount of plant matter I consumed could kill me. Not recommended for minors. Open your mind.